Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 3 a.m.? No alarm, no noise, just you and the stillness of the night? You're not alone. Millions of older adults quietly share this strange ritual. The world sleeps, yet your eyes are open. Not from fear or stress, but as if your body, or maybe your heart, is gently tapping you on the shoulder, asking for something. Here at Golden Minds, we believe these wake-ups aren't random, and they're certainly not a flaw. They might actually be one of the most powerful signs your body, your mind, and your spirit are still working in ways you haven't fully understood yet. In today's video, we're going to explore 5 surprising signs behind these early morning awakenings. But not just from a medical point of view. We'll dive into the deeper, more human reasons, emotional, biological, even soulful shifts that begin to reveal themselves in this season of life. You'll hear relatable stories, discover practical tips, and most of all, walk away with a greater sense of compassion for yourself. So if you've ever stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m. wondering why now, this video is for you. And before we dive in, take a moment to click like if you've ever experienced one of these mysterious early wake-ups, and subscribe to Golden Minds for more thoughtful, honest, and uplifting content created just for you. Now let's begin, because those quiet hours might be whispering something worth hearing. Sign number 1, your heart is still speaking. Emotional processing in the quiet of night. Now that we've opened the door to understanding these early wake-ups differently, let's begin with one of the most personal, yet overlooked reasons older adults often wake around 3 a.m. Emotional processing. You see, as we move into later chapters of life, the constant distractions that once filled our days, work deadlines, raising children, racing to appointments, start to quiet down. And in that stillness, something else often rises to the surface. Your thoughts, your memories, your feelings, the kind you didn't always have time or space to hear before. That 3 a.m. moment when the world is hushed and your home is still can become the only time your heart feels safe enough to speak. But here's the thing. This doesn't mean you're anxious, broken, or emotionally unstable. Far from it. It means you're human, you're reflective, and most importantly, you've lived. You carry a lifetime of joys, losses, decisions, and questions, and the mind often needs quiet hours to sift through them. Take Ellen, for example. She's 79 now, widowed, and lives in a cozy home filled with photos and flowers. During the day, she keeps herself active, reads, gardens, FaceTimes her grandkids. But most nights, like clockwork, she wakes up around 3:15. No pain, no dream, just a soft feeling of something. She used to think something was wrong with her, but over time she realized this was simply her inner world asking for attention. She began keeping a small notebook beside her bed. When she wakes, she jots down a thought, a memory, or even a question. Nothing elaborate. Sometimes just a sentence like, "I miss dancing," or "I wonder if Dad ever knew how proud I was of him." These gentle reflections gave her emotions a quiet place to land. And over time, she found she wasn't fighting her sleep anymore. She was learning from it. So if this sounds familiar, if your body feels rested but your mind is awake, maybe it's not a sleep problem. Maybe it's your story unfolding, one thought at a time. Try this. Before bed, create a small, calming ritual. Light a candle, write in a gratitude journal, or listen to soothing music. These acts can invite peace into your night and help you feel safe enough to rest again, even after waking. And remember, emotional wake-ups aren't a flaw. They're a sign of depth. They remind us that even in stillness, we're still growing. If you've experienced these quiet moments of reflection in the early hours, share one word that describes how they feel for you in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Now let's move forward, because the next sign may surprise you even more. Sign number 2. Your inner clock is running earlier than it used to. If you've ever looked at the clock in the middle of the night and thought, "Why am I wide awake now?" The answer may lie not in your sleep quality, but in your body's changing internal clock. This isn't something you did wrong. It's not a sign of poor health or aging gone wrong. It's actually part of a natural shift called advanced sleep phase, and it happens to many older adults, often without them realizing it. As we age, our circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells us when to sleep and wake, starts moving earlier. You may start feeling sleepy well before 9 p.m., even if you were once a night owl. And because your body starts winding down earlier, it naturally finishes its rest earlier too. So when 3 a.m. rolls around, your brain thinks, morning already? Let me tell you about Raymond, a 72-year-old retired carpenter. For years, he prided himself on being a solid sleeper. But lately, he noticed something had changed. He'd fall asleep watching TV around 8:30 p.m., shuffle to bed without much thought, and like clockwork, he was up before dawn. At first, he thought it was stress or even some kind of health issue. But after speaking with his doctor, he learned about this internal shift. Raymond decided to make some small changes. He began taking a short evening stroll around the block just after dinner, not to tire himself out, but to reset his rhythm. He dimmed the lights in his house more gradually, stopped napping after 5 p.m., and even started reading a mystery novel before bed instead of watching TV. These simple changes helped him fall asleep a little later and wake up closer to sunrise. What Raymond realized, and what many people don't, is that your body is still doing its job. It's just on a slightly different schedule now. The problem isn't the wake-up time. It's that the rest of your life, your meals, your family, your routines, may still be running on the old clock. The good news? You have more power than you think. By gently adjusting your habits, especially in the late afternoon and evening, you can help guide your internal clock into a rhythm that feels more natural for you. If you've noticed yourself drifting to sleep earlier than you used to, try shifting just one evening habit this week, whether it's your dinner time, your lighting, or your bedtime routine. You're not broken. You're just adjusting. And once you understand this shift, you can stop resisting it and start working with it instead. Now let's keep going, because what we explore next might reveal something you didn't even realize was affecting your sleep. Sign number 3. Your body is speaking through discomfort, even in the dark. Now that we've talked about how your sleep rhythm can shift with time, let's look at something else that might quietly nudge you awake at 3 a.m. Your body's subtle signals. In the stillness of the night, our senses become sharper. The tiniest discomfort, a stiff joint, a full bladder, even a change in room temperature, can gently tug us out of sleep before we even realize what's happening. And for older adults, these physical sensations tend to grow a little louder as the years go by. But here's the truth. This isn't your body failing you. It's your body communicating, and it's still doing its job, just a little differently now. Let's take Marjorie, age 75. She's active, bright, and loves her morning crossword puzzles. But for the past year, she's been waking around 3:30 a.m., unable to fall back asleep. At first, she blamed her mind, thinking maybe it was worry or stress. But the more she paid attention, the more she realized it was her hips aching from lying in one position too long, or a gentle urgency to use the bathroom. Nothing dramatic, just enough to disturb her rest. She also noticed that her blood pressure medication, which she took in the evening, seemed to increase her nighttime bathroom trips. After a conversation with her doctor, she adjusted the timing and added a few new habits. A light evening stretch routine, staying hydrated earlier in the day, and using a supportive pillow that relieved pressure on her joints. It didn't erase the wake-ups entirely, but now when she does wake up, it's gentler, and she returns to sleep much faster. So many of us are taught to ignore our body's quiet nudges, especially at night. But if we learn to listen, those signals can guide us toward better rest, not further from it. Consider this. Common conditions like arthritis, acid reflux, or even restless legs can stir you from sleep. Even something as small as dry mouth or a drop in blood sugar can jolt the body awake. And while these may feel minor, they add up, especially when we're more sensitive during those early morning hours. If you find yourself waking often, try keeping a simple sleep log for a week. Note when you eat dinner, how you felt before bed, what time you woke up, and if anything in your body felt off. These small clues can reveal a pattern, and sometimes a small shift in your routine can make a big difference. And if you've already made changes that help ease nighttime discomfort, share one in the comments. Your story might just help someone else rest easier too. Next, let's explore something many people never associate with sleep, but it could be influencing your rest more than you know. Sign number 4, your brain is still at work. Even while you sleep by now, we've seen how your body quietly speaks through discomfort. But what if I told you that sometimes it's not your body, but your brain that gently stirs you awake in the early hours? It may sound surprising, but one of the lesser-known reasons older adults wake around 3 a.m. is tied to something your brain does during sleep that's actually remarkable. Nighttime maintenance. Your brain doesn't shut off when you drift off to sleep. In fact, while you rest, it becomes incredibly busy. One of its most important tasks is to flush out waste and toxins that build up during the day. This is done through what scientists call the glymphatic system, a kind of internal rinse cycle that helps clear out debris and keep the brain healthy. This process happens mostly during deep sleep, and as we age, our ability to stay in those deeper stages tends to decline. That means your brain may begin this cleanup cycle, but then wake you during a lighter sleep stage as it transitions. The timing? Often, right around 2:30 or 3 a.m. Let me introduce you to Victor, a 78-year-old retired piano teacher. He always valued sleep, but lately he noticed he was waking up almost like clockwork, just past 3 a.m., and feeling oddly alert. No pain, no emotional weight, just awake. After learning about the brain's cleaning cycles, he started making small adjustments to support deeper, more sustained rest. He dimmed his lights earlier in the evening, avoided screens after 8 p.m., and stopped drinking caffeine past noon. He even added a few calming foods to his dinner, like leafy greens and a sprinkle of ground flaxseed, both rich in magnesium, which supports relaxation. Within a few weeks, he noticed a shift. He still woke occasionally, but his sleep felt fuller, and his mind clearer. The brain's glymphatic system is a relatively new discovery, but it's changing how we understand sleep and aging. When you wake up during one of these natural transitions, it's not a malfunction. It might just be your brain finishing its work and moving you into the next phase of the night. To support this beautiful process, consider creating a gentle wind-down routine, one that tells your brain it's safe to rest deeply. Try reading by a soft lamp, listening to instrumental music, or sipping a warm, caffeine-free drink like chamomile tea. If you've never thought about your brain cleaning house while you sleep, drop a comment with the word brain so we know this was new and helpful for you. And now as we continue, we'll return to something a bit more familiar, but no less powerful, a hormone that once came easily, but may now need a little help. Let's take a look. Sign number 5. Your melatonin levels have changed, and that's okay. As we just saw, your brain works quietly and brilliantly in the background, even while you sleep. But there's another key player that deserves our attention, one that often goes unnoticed until you start waking up in the middle of the night wondering, why can't I stay asleep? Let's talk about melatonin, your body's natural sleep hormone. Melatonin plays a central role in telling your body when it's time to rest. Think of it like your internal nightlight, signaling to your system, it's dark now, let's wind down. When we're younger, melatonin flows freely and consistently each night. But as we age, production naturally declines, often by as much as 50% or more. And that drop-off, it usually starts affecting us in the early morning hours, around 2 to 4 a.m. That's why many older adults fall asleep just fine, but then wake up around 3 a.m., feeling oddly alert. Not because something's wrong, but because there's not enough melatonin left in the system to keep sleep going strong. Let me introduce you to Doris, age 74. She loved her evening tea, her cozy flannel pajamas, and her peaceful bedtime routine. But she couldn't figure out why she kept waking up at exactly 3:10 a.m. No noise, no discomfort, just awake. At first, she thought maybe she was going to bed too early, or maybe it was her new pillow. But after reading more, she realized her body just wasn't making as much melatonin as it used to. So Doris made some gentle changes. She started dimming the lights in her home after dinner to signal nighttime to her brain. She stopped checking her phone in bed, swapped out her bedside lamp for a warmer amber glow, and even began taking a short walk just before sunset to help reset her natural rhythm. She also spoke with her doctor about trying a low-dose melatonin supplement, just 0.3 milligrams, which turned out to be the sweet spot for her. The difference was subtle, but meaningful. She still woke up occasionally, but her sleep felt deeper, and she could drift back off more easily. Melatonin isn't magic, but understanding it is empowering. And sometimes it's the small environmental cues, light, screens, evening habits, that have the biggest impact on your natural sleep cycle. If you've been waking in the early morning hours and wondering if melatonin might be involved, consider looking at your evening environment. Are you sending your brain the right signals? If this sign resonated with you, type the word light in the comments. Your insight might help someone else realize what's been missing. Now that we've explored all 5 signs, let's bring everything together with one final reflection to help you feel more connected, more informed, and more at peace with your sleep. Final thoughts. Your wake-ups are speaking. Are you listening? As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered together. Waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just a random quirk of aging. It's your body, your brain, and your heart quietly speaking. Maybe it's emotional reflection that needs a voice. Maybe your inner clock has simply shifted. It could be physical discomfort, your brain's natural maintenance process, or a gentle drop in melatonin that makes sleep feel a little lighter than it once did. But no matter the reason, one truth remains. You are not broken. Your body is still responding. Your mind is still active. Your soul is still evolving. Here at Golden Minds, we believe that sleep is more than just rest. It's a mirror. It reflects your rhythms, your needs, and the beautiful complexity of a life fully lived. These early wake-ups can be frustrating, yes, but they can also be meaningful when seen through a lens of understanding and compassion. So be gentle with yourself. Try one small change. Create an evening ritual. Dim your lights, listen to what your body is asking for, and above all, stay curious. If this video gave you a new perspective, we'd love to hear from you. Share one insight in the comments that resonated with you most, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss another thoughtful conversation here on Golden Minds. You're not just aging, you're growing into a new rhythm, and that's something truly worth honoring.